Hi, and welcome back to the last session dynamics lesson, 105, RTH Gap Fill. And the RTH Gap Fill is nothing more than a gap between the closing price of the previous regular trading hour session or the cash session and the opening of the new one. If there is a gap between them, we have a 68% chance that it will get refilled. This is another structural edge of ES and NASDAQ, just like the opening range breakout. So these are very mechanical ideas, very mechanical edges, where you on top of that can build your discretionary narrative to get to know order flow a little bit better, but basing it on something very solid to begin with, to start building the right habits. So in a situation like this, you might, for example, see that here you have a very big volume area that we can likely bounce. We have a great deal of chance that we'll fill this up. So what I would do here is maybe either wait for a very big signal, or let's say a good indication that buyers are in control, and either join the train on the way or wait for a new consolidation phase to happen and a breakout out of that. So fractally looking for an auction higher with, ranges, and wait for a breakout in the same fashion and stop below here, target here. Really easy trade. Really easy trade. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You can take a bias by looking at where we are in the volume profile. If we're inside and we want to ping pong, if we're breaking out and want to look at volume to continue, or you take the opening range breakout and look at what happens during the breakouts. If there's an initiative, if there's volume, if there's initiative, we continue. Or same thing, if this was the previous session and now the previous session opens here, the next session open here, there's a gap, perfect. I'll try and sell it as soon as I see some aggressive selling kicking in and market auctioning lower and lower. These are four very simple ways to start implementing order flow analysis as a confirmation for your entries given a volume bias or a statistical bias. Also, this strategy, by the way, something similar to this, has a decent edge overall. So this is a structural edge again. But this one I would say needs a little bit more context. And let's try now. Something very easy you can do is click here and just delete and not have the extended trading hour session on chart. And you're basically going to find yourself with a chart that by itself just has the regular trading hours without having to create a custom session and all of that stuff. So we're going to wait for this to load. Yep, and in this situation, it's very awesome because you had both edges at the same time. Let's take off the volume profile. You had both a gap to fill and an opening range breakout. I mean, that's just free money, as Fabio would say. You have all of the confirmations we talked about before, plus an opening range breakout, plus a gap fill. So you had your target preset. Absolutely phenomenal. So we break the opening range breakout, so we have a very high probability that we continue up, plus we have a gap that we have a very high probability of filling, plus the auction is on our favor and buyers are absorbing any sellers that tries to go lower. This is just like very, very high percentage win rate stuff. And you can just simply wait for a session like this. You wait for a session to gap down, you wait for an opening range to be broken up, you see if there's a lot of volume, and this is a extremely high probability setup, extremely high. And this is how you take order flow and contextualize it with an edge that is very, very solid. So this was the order flow mastery course. We've been through all of the trading tools that order flow can provide, all of the market mechanics that goes around it, all of the auction market theory model that models the money flow. We've understood the rhythm of the money flow and some statistical edges based on the rhythm of the money flow, where we can then use auction dynamics, short-term auction dynamics in the footprint charts to time our entries with confidence.